You guys remember the other day, JD Vance was at the University of Georgia speaking at an event. There was a student that stood up and asked one particular question about the Epstein files.
But President Trump multiple times called the files a hoax. The acting attorney general said Epstein shouldn't be a part of anything at the DOJ. If there are compromised government officials in those files, how can the public trust that this administration will hold anyone accountable when its own Justice Department is actively blocking the investigation? Given that, can you clearly articulate your stance on whether federal entities should have a formal investigation? Thank you.
When I saw that University of Georgia student ask that question of the vice president, I said, how did he get the opportunity to sit in front of that microphone and ask JD Vance an actual question? How did that happen? Why would they let something like that go down? He got on later and he told his story of how he got the opportunity to ask that question that JD Vance answered very badly.
I sat at the front of the event and was prepared to ask a question on whether there should be a formal investigation. When I saw they opened it up for Q&A, I immediately tried to get to the mic. When the spotlight came on for the Q&A, 5 people were already standing there wearing suits and dresses with TPUSA lanyards already positioned there. I still got up and got in line, and I think I was the first one there that was not a part of TPUSA, so I just sat in line and got ready to ask my question. When we were waiting in line, this lady in a blue top was going around asking people, especially not in TPUSA, what topic we are going to ask about. When I was waiting in line and the lady came up to me, I could tell from her tone that they were probably screening the questions by topic, so I just said that I was going to ask on foreign policy. After a few more times of people coming up to me and asking what my topic was, this finally happened.
Thank you so much.
This will be the last question.
Okay. Can we take 2 more? Because I like answering questions. We'll take a couple more.
If you could look closely in the back end there, when the woman in the blue dress, that this student, I didn't get his name, when he said he was trying to get up there and they asked him what they were going to ask, and he was already noticing, this looks like they're trying to keep real questions from being asked. Just behind her, when she said this will be the last question, he's behind the woman in the red dress, and he's very disappointed. As soon as she says this will be the last question, he went, no! And then when JD Vance goes, I want a few more, he was like, yes. So anyways, this guy's telling his story of how he got to the front. I'm gonna let him finish his story because he tells it much better than me.
This was the last person in front of me, and when JD Vance said that they were going to have a few more questions, this lady immediately went back and started asking what my topic was again, and specifically what I was going to ask about, looking at my phone and saying, can you please read your question to me? I was astonished how they were talking to us, so I went off to the side to talk to somebody sitting down, and I looked back and immediately someone had cut me in line. The lady in blue put this girl right in front of me because her topic was better than mine, and here you can see me fighting back on that a little bit. Luckily, JD Vance asked for one more question again and finally let me ask a question, so I finally got to get off my chest.
Okay, yeah. We'll do one more. Sorry, real quick. I love this, but I got to go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President, and coming to UGA and allowing us to express our freedom of speech. So thank you so much.
This is my first time at a TPUSA event and a political event, but I just wanted to show that this was my experience, and they might preach for freedom of speech and non-censorship, but this was just my experience and how they managed the event.
Look at all the hurdles he had to jump just to ask that question. It seems like a question most Americans want the answers to. We all see the cover-up that's happening. We're trying to figure out what it is that they're up to, and also who is it that's implicated and who it is that they're hiding behind, and how bad this could be for, let's keep it real, things like national security, because people are on the hook, could be blackmailed, which, I mean, all the way up to the top is what the speculation is. So every time, this is from like campaign time, every time JD Vance is on any of these events, many times, we'll see crowds that are prepped for him. And this isn't just a JD Vance thing. I understand all politicians, most damn near all politicians have a crowd that they figured out. But they always have this defensiveness to protect JD Vance. Maybe outside chance, even though JD Vance showed up there and still was getting protected by TPUSA, there's been some speculation that folks within JD Vance's own circle in this administration, and all the folks that support and have created this atmosphere where this administration can thrive don't like them anything about JD Vance. And that even this event at the University of Georgia was a setup, especially with that small crowd size.
Looks like Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA may have set JD Vance up for failure at a recent rally in Georgia where the crowd was practically empty. Only 25% of the arena was full during a recent event where Turning Point USA held and the vice president spoke at. Because Erica Kirk was actually supposed to speak at the time the vice president spoke. And while she was pulled from the lineup due to, quote, security concerns. Well, here's the issue. Now we're learning from CBS News that the Secret Service did not determine that there were any security concerns present. So it's not really clear why Erica Kirk dropped out, unless maybe it was because the crowd size wasn't as big as they had hoped for. And while Vice President Vance went, was heckled at the event, and was at the event with only about 25% of the stadium full. Now, the excuse of security concerns didn't even make sense that night, just because if there's security concerns for Erica Kirk, wouldn't there be security concerns for the Vice President of the United States? But now we know there weren't. So what really happened?